Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, but I'm excited to be back, and today I'm excited to say that we're looking at the oversized hardcover of Sins of Sinister, an X-Men Krakoa story. Sounds right up my alley, so without further ado, let's take a look at this book. Okay, and here's the cover of Sins of Sinister. As you can see, it features Sinister himself with this shattered glass sort of visage of all the characters, although I feel like there's a lot of characters on this cover that don't play any major role or any real role in the story. For you spine lovers, here is the spine of the book. It's kind of a blandish one, but that's sort of the theme they've been going for with these Krakoa era hardcovers, it seems, or just like weirdly colorful sometimes, I don't know. And here is the back of the book, which we've got some Krakoa in there. If anyone's translated it, please leave a comment and let me know. Then we've got a quote from Sinister himself saying, "A perfect plan, except it just didn't work." Okay, and here is what Sins of Sinister, the oversized hardcover, collects. We've got in here Sins of Sinister number 1, Immoral X-Men number 1 through 3, different than Immortal X-Men, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants 1 through 3, NIGHTCRAWLERS 1 through 3, and Sins of Sinister Dominion number 1. Okay, Sins of Sinister. Let me start off by saying this is now as far caught up on X-Men as I am currently, and I had been really looking forward to this event. I've enjoyed Sinister as a villain and sort of just that role of occasional ally to the X-Men, even though they don't really want to be an ally with him. All of that has been super fun, and the fact that he's had his own scheme up and running the whole time, super fun. All of that lead up to me was straight up awesome, super inventive, and thrilling. Overall with this event though, I don't know, I kind of have mixed feelings on it, super mixed feelings. But first, for those who don't know, Sins of Sinister is a Krakoa-era X-Men event. It's similar to something like Age of Apocalypse in the sense that we see something from the main timeline sort of devolve into an alternate timeline. In this instance, however, instead of it being a universe under the control of Apocalypse, it's under the control of Sinister, and more accurately, Sinisters plural. Now, Sinister is of course known for genetic manipulation, and he was pivotal in the founding of Krakoa because of all of his scientific pursuits. And basically what we learn, and have learned before this really, is that Sinister has been able to tamper with Krakoa's resurrection protocols and tamper with the genes of those who have died and come back again, thus infecting them with this sinister gene which turns them into not a slave of his, but more an amalgamation of his personality and whoever's personality that's been infected, but with the sinister variation of it, I'd say, being more dominant. So characters are like themselves in a way, but they also just have the veneer of straight up Sinister, so they just do everything as Sinister would do it, sort of. And this event actually follows this timeline for 1,000 years, where this plan of Sinister is to take over and literally become a true god, a Dominion-level being. We get to sort of see how that plays out in this 1,000-year run-through. I should also say, I don't think you can just pick up Sins of Sinister and have this be an easily understandable read for you. I think you genuinely need to know what's going on in Immortal X-Men prior to this. It's where Sinister basically creates his Moira engine, which is how he's been doing his scheming. Try something out, upload data, send it back, kill Moira, timeline reset, and then the original Sinister gets all that data and is able to see how things played out and use that to his advantage. The reason we have Sins of Sinister, however, this 1,000-year event, is because his lab ends up getting stolen, and he's then unable to reset the timeline, and he gets stuck in a hell of his own making for, again, 1,000 years. But I feel like the lead up, with all the Moira engine stuff, and sort of just so we get a better sense of the Quiet Council and their inner workings and whatnot, and Sinister's lab and everything, and his, scheming throughout, I feel like they should have included some of those Immortal X-Men issues in here, but they didn't, and I think that would make it confusing if you haven't read them, so I don't recommend this if you haven't read that. But yeah, here's my thing with this event. There's a lot of really cool and fun ideas in here that get explored to some degree, but I don't know, I felt like the through line of this was sort of missing for me, or it just started to get away from me. It became super sci-fi in a way that, because I know X-Men has been doing a lot of sci-fi for many, many years. I mean, it is quintessentially sci-fi, I guess. Look, the way they do it is like year 0, year 10, year 100, and year 1000. Like with throughout the miniseries, we get to see, those big year jumps, and I personally found the stuff most fascinating. That was actually compelling and made me really, really excited to continue reading it further into this. All of that was, in that first issue, and then in the first 10 years stuff. Once we started going past 10 years for me, we were getting further and further away from like the characters I know and love and want to read about, and getting different versions of things, which is totally fine, but everything just felt so distant from any like resemblance of X-Men I know, which may be the point because it's like the sinister, corrupted universe, but also I still want to like read a character that I can follow and root for, And I don't know, it just felt like there wasn't someone I could really latch on to this. And then weirdly enough, there was, I forget at what point she's introduced, if it's like in year 100 or, because she ends up, making it to year 1000. And I won't say anything past that. I don't want to spoil anything necessarily, but there's this character, Rasputin the Fourth, I guess, who, like I said, I've not read past this, so I don't know what, I don't know any plans with that character or what they were thinking about or anything like that. Like I said, again, I'm trying not to spoil here, but Rasputin the Fourth, that character, it feels like when she's introduced, they want us to be like, yeah, we're gonna follow this character, like she's gonna sort of take us through the rest of the story, and she does a little bit in a sense, but I don't know. She wasn't someone I felt like I could really latch onto. She wasn't someone I felt like I really got to know at all. But then again, with this event, there were such really, really cool moments in it. I mean, a lot of this event seems to be just an exercise in thinking of like, hey, if we had Sinister under control of the mutants, or like a sinisterized X-Men universe, how could we leverage the mutants to their best capabilities if we take a step back and ignore any morality or ethics? How can we achieve the goals of like the mutant dream or a corrupted version of the mutant dream without playing ball by anyone else's rules but our own? And that's a really, really cool idea, and they do some really, really cool things in that story with this. And that's why I said my favorite part of the story is almost when the Sinister Gene starts taking over, and all his plan is coming to its original point of fruition, in which it like facilitates him to be able to walk around freely and just be like, it's Sinister World now, baby. I mean, he doesn't say that, but essentially he gets that sort of freedom in the beginning. And then, it slowly gets away from him. And the story is sort of about that hell of his own making, and Sinister realizing that, like, oh, you may be becoming a Dominion level being. It was, like, always outside of the realm of possibility for me. But, I don't know. I guess it was more a Sinister-focused story, but it also felt like it got away from him a little bit, too. So yeah, I think that's why I'm sort of like lukewarm on this, because I thought it was really, really cool conceptually. Yes, I thought the lead up to this was so cool. Super, super thrilling, like I said. And like really, really inventive use of Sinister and his technology, and Moira, and taking over the Quiet Council. All of that is fantastic. I think there's so this book starts off great. You're like, this is super fun. Then, like I said, it starts getting away from you. And then in the middle, you're like, okay, I'm wrapped up in some like crazy sci-fi plot that I know they're gonna just hit reset on, which is like a caveat of comics anyway, I guess, at some point. But still, it's like, I don't know, it felt a little like you still have to make me care a little more, And so yeah, I don't know. There was that chunk in the middle and towards the end where I was like, I'm not feeling it too much. But then like the last 20%, I again was like, well, this is awesome. Again, this is cool. And then the way everything wrapped up, I thought was really, really interesting. It's more, it's less of a wrap up, more of a launching off point for more things. So I'm curious what happens after this, because it was I won't spoil it, but yeah, it's a pretty intense, drastic ending. It's gonna have some game-changing ramifications to Krakoa, which I'm sure it already has, and I'm behind on my X-Men reading. But you guys let me know what you think of this. Like I said, I'd probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10, maybe. You let me know your scores in the comments below.